So this is another Dracaena or corn plant. In this pot, there are actually two plants. We recently, and I'll talk a little bit more about this, we recently propagated this plant here from this plant, the mother plant. This plant is a bit of a beast. It's a giant and it's hit the ceiling a few times. Again, we've had this plant, sorry, not again, but in another video, I talked about how long we've had this plant. We've had this Dracaena for over 10 years. When we got it, it was about half this height. And now for the past 2 years or so, it just constantly hits the ceiling. So when it hits the ceiling, we cut it back and then it grows. And this plant gets the most natural light that our house can offer. It's in front of this bay window and we have southeast exposure. So it gets a lot of sun. It is not that great looking. Oh man, it's, you can see this middle section right here is like horrible, absolutely horrible. So, like, I can't tell you exactly why, but, I, didn't really know we had a fungus plant problem until I started watching a lot of videos about the Dracaena plant and plants in general. And then I learned that what we thought were fruit flies were a plant pest. So before this year, I didn't know that a fungus gnat was a plant pest, like at all. I just thought we had a lot of fruit flies around the house and I didn't know why. Like, I had no idea that it related to the plants at all. So once I learned that, then I started treating the fungus gnat problem with mosquito dunks, and it made a huge difference. So I guess I'm a little confused because we cut this plant down often, like many times, maybe 3 times we've reduced the height of this plant. But you can see our last cut, all of the new leaves are beautiful. All of this part I love, like it's what I want from this plant. So I'm having trouble with this plant because I love the new growth on it. It's amazing. I learned about with the mosquito dunks, you have to leave the mosquito dunks soaking in the water for a day or two. Usually we leave them for 2 days. And that helps with also not just the fungus gnats, but leaving the water out for 2 days decreases the amount of chlorine that's left in that water. And the chlorine in the water creates burnt tips. Now, we tried to trim our plants so you can't see the burnt tips, but you see burning everywhere anyways. This sort of yellow damage is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when the tips of the plants just burn. So if this whole leaf was beautiful, oh, look, there's a little fungus gnat. Clearly they're not completely gone, sorry. But what I'm talking about the chlorine is when your leaf looks amazing and then you have this like burnt tip, like this brown dried tip. Now, again, because we've been using the mosquito dunks for the past 2 to 3 months, our water's always sitting out, so we're getting rid of the chlorine, and none of the new growth has burnt tips. Like, I am kind of amazed. They look so good. They're just beyond eye level. They're so high. But even just looking at the underside, I see how healthy they are, and I just love them. And I wish we knew this before, so that these leaves would have been better. It's so sad. Yeah, so for years, we didn't know fungus gnat was a pest issue, but what the fungus gnats do is they start eating roots, and they eat the roots, and that affects the growth of the plant. Now that we've reduced the population, the new leaves are amazing, but we're stuck with this middle section that's pretty hideous. We try to cut, and then this yellow, I think it's called chlorosis. I could be completely wrong, but this yellowing of the edges just comes back and further affects the leaves. I mean, I think it's still good to not, like, I kind of want to cut them all off, but there's still green in the leaf, so it's still photosynthesizing for the plant and contributing to that upper growth. Yeah, like, my husband wants to get rid of this mother plant entirely, which might be for the best. But the little propagation, well, it's not little, it's a nice size. We propagated this summer by taking some cuttings from the top, like almost like you would cut it from here, somewhere where the stem is still green, even here. Like, let's say I cut this portion right here. I could have this as a cutting and then this as a cutting. Maybe I could have 2 cuttings from here. So we took 3 cuttings in total, put them in water for maybe a month to 2 months. And you still have to, like, clean out the water. So change the water every now and then. And we didn't let the water sit out and get rid of chlorine or anything like that. It was just, pour water from the tap, put the stems in, or the propagations in, and then a week later, empty it and put in fresh water. We didn't, like, let the water sit out or anything like that. But a month or 2 later, maybe 6 weeks later, out of the 3 cuttings, 1 of them had roots. And that was this one here. And it's doing so well. It had this leaf in the cutting. This droopy leaf was in the cutting. And maybe it had like 3 other leaves. So this one, and this one. Maybe all of this. Like, I'm not certain, but most of this is new growth. It was very small. It really didn't have a lot of leaves on it originally, but yeah, maybe 3 leaves, like this one, and this one. And all of these are fresh new leaves, variegated, so pretty, just what you want. This, like, you want that, like what I wanted, a tropical plant feeling. I know it's called a corn plant, but like, a corn plant makes it feel so bland, but to me, this plant, when it looks good, is like this tropical palm tree. So luscious. Unfortunately, I didn't know too much about it. And we have a whole big, large section to prove how little I knew for so long. So, I mean, such a small piece of knowledge, that fungus gnat thing. And it's just... Aside from this middle section, the top section's luscious and beautiful. The new section is doing so well. And I love what this plant looks like when the leaves are healthy. And I can't wait, I guess, for this little guy to grow more. And then when it grows up, maybe to this height around here, maybe then we'll do something about the mother plant. The other thing about this middle section is we took it out of this pot because we did kind of a root pruning on it, and it was doing poorly. So these leaves were in bad shape when we did the root prune, and we took out all the soil, cut off a lot of the roots, so not like the big chunky roots, but tried to get rid of as like the smaller roots so that it wouldn't be root bound in the pot anymore, and to give room for the propagation eventually. And really just it was mostly to ensure that it wouldn't be root bound, because it is, like, it's a pretty big plant and the pot's pretty small, which, like, I kind of like that. I don't like having a huge pot. But the root pruning, I don't think was that great for the leaves either. But I don't think it was looking good before the root pruning anyways. Like, we were just like, we don't have anything to lose with this plant. we can chop it up, we can do a root prune. Like we were kind of just like, well, instead of throwing it out, let's do something. So yeah, so we did a root prune and we did the propagation, and this plant is always growing to the ceiling, and you can cut it back and it'll just keep going. So that's kind of, it is the one plant that, like, it's never actually had leaves that look so good, like that's coming out of the top. And I used to want to get rid of it, but now that I have these leaves, I kind of want it to get to the point where these just fall off and see what it looks like with beautiful new leaves. Although I think it still might be just not enough leaves on top of the plant. Even if all of these die and go away and these are beautiful and lush, I don't think it's going to be enough to make it look the way I want it to look. So our best bet is definitely to wait for this to grow up. These aren't like dying off, they just keep crisping at the edges, and they've been like this for at least 4 months now. Yeah, so the mosquito dunks, as I said, really good at like managing the fungus gnats. I don't know about them completely going away. We've been using fungus gnats for a few months now. These, yeah, a couple of months, 2 months. So it's November, like the beginning of November. We use them October, September, and a little bit at the end of August. There's still fungus gnats on the sticky traps. And when I do water it, sometimes I still see fungus gnats pop up. We don't have as many as we did before, because before you would see a fungus gnat all the time. You couldn't really sit and watch TV and not see a fungus gnat. So this is the corn plant. It's a little bit ugly, but I don't know, there's beauty in it. So I do love the fresh new leaves. I love the propagation. I hate the middle section. It does have these long, thin stems right here, and it hardens off as it grows. So now that we know more about this plant, we will definitely take care of the younger plant better. The only problem is if we chop off the mother plant, if we get rid of the mother plant and have to reroot it, I don't want to hurt this little guy. So I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I don't know. I don't think it's good to, let's say if we chop off the mother plant and just leave the wooden stems, and this plant is growing next to the wooden stems, I have a feeling that's not really good, because I assume that maybe the mother plant will die and then the roots will start rotting, and that might affect the little plant, but I don't know. We'll see, because repotting or like unpotting and changing the potting soil of this plant is terribly difficult. It doesn't, you have to lie it down on the ground, and then the leaves are like getting like smushed, and it just is very uncomfortable. It looks like it's an uncomfortable process for the plant. This pot also, like, I can't stand it. It has this like rim underneath, like you can fit your fingers in. So when you pull the roots out, a lot of the roots get stuck under here, and it's a battle. Like you're tugging with it. And we had to literally just saw inside. We got this pot from my husband's mom, so it was like a gift. It was free. It's just very difficult when the roots are huge and they get stuck in this lip. So we just like sawed into it, and it was very challenging, and you had to like pull it out and struggle. Anyways, yeah, it's been around for a long time. This is our first plant we ever bought together, and it's like I don't want to get rid of it, but I do want it to look better. I mean, from this angle, it looks like potentially maybe that the new leaves at the top might do a great thing, and that we can get rid of these middle leaves eventually, or they might just die off and leave this luscious, beautiful palm tree. I don't know. It's a touching plant because we've had it for so long, but it's definitely shows where our knowledge shifted. Yeah, that's a Dracaena, and I don't think we'll ever get rid of this mother plant. As much as we dream about it and fantasize about it, I don't think we'll give up on it, to be honest. We've had it for too long. We've seen it through some ugly phases, so I don't know. I just can't see us getting rid of it now that like we know more about it. Anyways, I'm pretty sure I'll have this plant in another video because I'm gonna fight for this one. There's no way I don't want this one to go. And my husband doesn't either, as much as he says it does. He does. I'm pretty sure this will be around for another 10 years or more. I hope. All right, I will see you in another video. Thanks. Bye.